to get through this afternoon and try and finish between 4:30 and 4:45. We want to do mindset stuff as well, so we're just going to have to whiz through a couple of bits and pieces. If I miss things that you would like to know more of, I'm here all day tomorrow. Ask me questions, cool? But I'm going to whiz through a couple of what I think are really vital things that we need to know. Remember, if anyone wants to do the 12... to get the videos of this, the edited videos of this, and want to do a testimonial, you just need to speak to one of the guys as well. They needed to remind me, and we can do that in breaks and lunch times and all of that kind of stuff. Alrighty, I want to briefly talk about pricing, because there's some sweet spots. There's some real hot spots in pricing that the statistics of course developers are showing actually work. Low range, so the different types of pricing models you've got. A low range cost, meaning you have to make a higher number of sales to make an income. So if your goal is to make $100,000 a year, you've got to sell a lot more, it's logical, isn't it, of a low cost product. So you've got to find more customers somehow. Usually not a lot of support, no support or very little support is offered in the lower cost models, unless they're subscription-based models. So sometimes subscription-based models will have a $49 fee or a $29 fee, and like Colin Wendy's, they have fortnightly webinars, things like that. So a lower cost is up to $100, under $100 or up to maximum of $299. That's kind of what's considered a low cost course, okay? And if a membership site, it's usually considered as a $600 per annum cost as well. So that might be $10 per month up to $47 per month. That kind of fits into the low cost model course, okay? The mid-range cost course, you're looking at obviously mid-range cost, lower number of sales again, low to medium numbers of sales that you need. And you usually offer low to medium support within a mid-range cost course. From $300 up to about $997 is considered a mid-range cost, okay? And I'll tell you what the exact sweet spots are in a moment. Won't be a sec, we'll be with you shortly. You can do it as a one-off fee, up to $997, or if it's a subscription or a payment plan model, it's $57 a month up to about $97 a month. And that's kind of what's considered a mid-range course. Then you've got your premium cost courses, where you have to sell less of them, don't you, to make that 100K? But, of course, it might be harder to sell. You don't know that yet, do you? Because you don't know the research. Oh, how interesting is that? And you haven't really done the research on the type of customer you have. You may find, I've sold courses for a low to mid-range cost and they didn't sell very well. I put a higher fee on them and they sold like crazy, yeah? So it's perception as well. So often there's a little bit of testing and measuring that needs to go on with your courses as well. So premium cost is usually $1,000 up to $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, sometimes even more. Some people can be charging up to $60,000, etc. I was at an event in Las Vegas a few years ago, and I think she did about $4.2 million at an event because she offered a $60,000 coaching program, and people ran to the back of the room to sign up. $60,000. They ran to the back of the room. Yeah.
What kind of coaching?
Coaching to become a speaker and take yourself on the world stage. Yep. Ta-da! So yes, that is kind of what's considered a higher cost program. And of course you need to sell less of them if you want to earn $100,000 a year as a stable income for the rest of your life. If it's a $20,000 course, you only really need 5, don't you? If it's a $47,000 course, how many customers do you need to find and source? Quite a few more. But again, it depends on the business you want to create and, of course, the audience and the hot topic that you're targeting. When you bring that magic together, hot topic, your business model, your perfect ideal client, and you bring all of that together, then you have a magic sweet spot yourself where you'll usually be able to research and find that hot spot for your pricing as well. We'll look at, and I might skip through some of this and you can ask me about it in detail if you want more later. Pricing will really depend on the niche that you're in, of course. You need to consider that and you'll find a sweet spot for you there. Obviously, research, I always like to price myself as towards the higher level within a sweet spot. Yep.
Sorry, just quickly, I might have missed it. Was that US dollars? Do you sell in US dollars or AUD?
If I'm selling to Australian market, I sell in Australian dollars. If I'm selling to an overseas market, it's US dollars.
But it's the same level of dollars?
Yes. Yep. Yep. So I always try to kind of go either near or to the top of a niche. So if it's a mid-range niche, I'll try and price myself at the top of that. Likewise. High-price programs are just as easy to sell or hard to sell as lower-priced options, depending on how you look at it, whether you look at it from a glass half full or a glass half empty. They're not actually much harder to sell than a lower-priced course. It's all in the languaging and the marketing. It's all in how much you've connected to your audience. High-priced programs attract higher quality learners as well, I found. Yeah, some of the lower price programs where I'm promising a little bit of support and a little bit of interaction, I usually get quite needy. Yeah, it's a much needier, like the Emotional Eating Solutions, when I lowered the price and I offer it at the discounted $997, I usually find the customers are much more needy than the $2,200 customers. Run away. Yeah. So just be aware of that as well. And again, it's depending on what you're selling. Obviously, if you're selling nothing to do with emotional support or any kind of habits and sabotages and patterns, then it might be easier. But consider that. They can be easier to handle. They are often short on time, so they want fastest results. Yeah, people who pay a lot, they're kind of, I just want the service. I want to know that I'm getting what I'm going to get. And they're happier to admit if they need help, because they've invested, yeah? So they take more action. They want to be there. And I find people who pay the higher prices actually achieve their results far faster than a lot of other students. And I find that they complete the courses far faster. They take action because they see the value, take action on the value, and I want the result. Yeah? So if they're not getting the result, they're much more likely to go, hey, Maggie, I need some help, rather than people who then go, well, I've only paid $297, but I don't want to tell her that I'm not going to. So then I get grumpy, and then they're the ones that kind of don't tell you that they're upset or don't tell you that they need help, and they can end up festering. Does that make sense? Whereas people who pay a higher price often normally go, I need help. I paid this money. Show me how to do it. Yep. And that's the kind of customer I want to deal with. They complain less and do more, which is fantastic. Higher price programs tend to have a higher completion rate as well, and it can be the path for you as a course developer, can be the fastest path to 6 or 7 figures as well. But again, you've got to decide based on your topic where your sweet spot is. And, with the autoimmune community, there's a lot of people who are out of work in that field because they've been sick for a long, long time. So, going in with a $20,000 offer to that community is unlikely to find a hell of a lot of customers. And, if that community, if that's what I was trying to seek out of that community, I wouldn't be working in that space. So for me, that is more about a gift of service to the autoimmune community. But often I do charge for what I do a lot of free stuff in it, but often I do charge because when I do the free stuff, I get the most complainers. I get the people who are the victims and the poor me, I've been so sickers, and they don't want to, and that's okay because often you need to go through that stage to come out the other side, but that's not the customer that I want to. That's certainly not the intention of what I created the autoimmune group for. And so often I do charge, even if it's $97 or $197, I will charge something in order that it's the people who really want. They know that I'm about helping yourself. And so it's the people that actually see that that's what they want, or they're at least willing to step out of their victim mentality as well. Okay. A little bit of pricing for you to give you an idea about subscription modelling and things to show you the potential for that. If you look at a $47 price, my expectations are that you obviously, with the calculations, if you want to earn $100,000 a year, then you need at least 2,128 sales per year. And that works out to be about 41 per week or 6 sales per day. Okay, so you can kind of reverse engineer what you need to do. To do that, if you need 6 sales per day, or say you need 41 sales per week, then I kind of calculate if you're going from cold leads, you would need to be attracting around 4,100 cold leads every week. People laugh, but you can do that, yeah? If that's the model you've chosen to do, you've just got to put the systems in place to do that. Does that make sense? And some people are saying, oh, no, it sounds like hard work. Then if you go to a 497 course, you're looking at about attracting 400 cold leads per week. And that's to achieve, again, just over a $100,000 rate. A 997, you only need to attract about 200. Make sense? So if you're selling, you need 1 sale every 3 days, so 2 point something sales per week to reach that figure, then you're seeing it kind of as a 10% of that sales revenue coming from the kind of leads that you're converting. Okay, 1997. So if you're looking at around a 2,000 or higher priced, then you only need less than 1 sale per week to reach $101,000. So again, it's what kind of course do you want to create, what kind of customer do you want to attract, and what's the sweet spot for that customer. And if you're going to provide a $2,000 course, then it has to have a lot of substance in it compared to, say, a $97 course or a $297 course. Yeah? So you've got to think about the build and the content of that as well. And, if you've got a really big name and a really big list, then people often pay because of the name. So I'm sure if Anthony Robbins offered his introductory course was $1,997, there'd be a lot of people that would buy it because of who he is. Yep. So you've got to take that into consideration as well.
Do I read that conversion rate right, that there's only 1% of your cold leads are converted?
I go for the lowest, absolute lowest assumption. Yeah, it's probably more than that, but I take it as bare minimum fact. If 1% of your leads actually converted, that's what you would make. And so therefore, if you end up getting 2% or 5% or 10%, you're making a lot more. But I would rather be conservative, to give you realistic expectations. Cool? I don't want to blow anything up your... I want to give you realistic expectations that you're not just going to make a course and write a book and make $100,000 tomorrow. It takes work. It does take work. It takes commitment. And, for the authors that I've been working with, it's usually about a year for all of the structure to be in place, the systems, the models, the books there, the courses there. It's already selling. You've got your funnels in place within the year. And then that next 6 months to 8 months, it starts to build. You're getting a few $1,000s a month. And then that longer term goal of 3 to 5 years, you're earning the 10, 20, whatever it is, $1,000 a month. But you've got to see it as that first year is about building the foundation, getting the audience together and doing so. I want you to have a realistic point of view, okay? Because a lot of people start doing this, don't get $100,000 in the first 6 months and they go, oh, this online course stuff is too hard, yeah? Be realistic about it. It does take time to build the foundation. Now, if you get all the magic pill and the formula together right, and you've got the hot topic, you've got the right price, you've got the right course content, you find the right audience, it can happen that quickly. But often I just want you to be aware, often there are things that need to be tested and measured first. Okay? So reverse engineering your pricing. Depending on, let's say your goal is $10,000 per month. That's what you want to replace in income with an online course from your current, if you're working one-to-one model or if you're working part-time with a business as well. Then if you're looking at a pricing model of $97 per month, $97 for a course, then I believe at the conservative rate that you need to be looking at cold leads of 1,000, to bring in $10,000 a month, okay, at that kind of rate. But it's less leads the higher you go. So if you've got a $997 course, then you need to aim for about 110 cold leads. If you've got warm leads, that figure drops dramatically. So what's the importance of tomorrow when we're working on social media and building an audience and connecting with that audience and languaging that Annie's going to talk about and Facebook advertising and organic lead reach? All of that tomorrow is about trying to warm up your leads, to turn them from cold leads so you don't need 110 to get $10,000 a month. Because look what Annie does with very warm to hot leads in her group. She can turn over $80,000 with a webinar. Okay? So I want you to keep that in mind. The more you connect with your audience, the less you have to attract. But you still keep attracting them. Which model is more appealing? Remember, the low-cost model, membership model, takes time. You've got to be realistic. It takes time to build it up to those kind of figures, and you're in it for the long haul. It's not a short-term fix. And unless you've already got a huge list, of course, like a Tony Robbins or somebody like that, where the list is already existing. This is an example of my course, 2,200 retail. Okay, I think we mentioned that before. 13 sales in our first email launch, so I didn't spend any money on the launch. I just did, I think it was a 4-week email campaign, and we did 13 sales, followed by a 12-week launch to a cold Facebook audience. Okay, so I didn't actually have any warm leads for that yet. I did it to a cold Facebook audience. I budgeted $60 ad spend. Probably nowadays, that was a couple of years ago, obviously. Facebook has changed ad-wise. I'd probably have to budget $100 a day now to get the similar kind of results. So you've got to go with the trend with that. And that was worthwhile because we had 77 people take up the program. Okay? I think
How many were on your database? Do you know?
at that stage... Probably 4,000, but they weren't specifically for eating. Yeah, they were in hypnosis, in general addiction, lots of other.
And then just through your clinic, or?
Yes, they were originally just through my clinic, and then I had a minor subscription with what I called a Gift of Happiness that came out once a week at a $10 subscription. So they were very general leads. They weren't very niche specific. So this was a very niche specific customer that I was looking for. So some of the reasons to go premium, the motivation factor, your brain stays in the game. You're motivated as well, aren't you? If one sale equals $2,000 or one sale equals $9.97 or $8.97 or whatever it is that you've decided. Learners' perceived value means they're more likely to follow through on the course as well. We've talked about that. Saves you time and money, and of course it positions you in the market at the higher end. Still opportunities, it gives you room to move for launch prices like I do with my emotional eating, don't I? I do just that little offer once a year where I offer it for $9.97. Completely upfront with my existing members, saying they all know when they join that if they wait till October they could get it. Same course, same service, same thing, but for less than half price. Okay? But because they perceive value in the course, they don't care. They want to get started now, the majority of them. Who's asked a question? Yep.
Is there a way of joining with somebody else for leads?
Joining, yes. I'm just talking about joint ventures at the moment, and we'll talk a lot more about joint ventures tomorrow as well. We're going to go into detail with joint ventures. Higher-priced courses are more likely to be attractive to joint ventures as well, because usually with a joint venture, you need to offer a 50-50 split. So it's your course and you've done the work to create it, but if you're asking somebody else to send it out to their list, they're going to want to make it worth their while at least 50% of the cut, okay? And so if your course is $50, it doesn't really entice a joint venture to go, $25 a hit, is it really worth me to bother asking my team to put together an email marketing list? Probably not. But if your course is $1,000 or $2,000 and they're likely to get $1,000 a sale or $500 a sale, they're more motivated to want to send it out to their list for you. Yep. Now, the beauty is you might think, you've done the work and they're getting 50% of the cut, but the beauty is those customers are now your customers. If you're providing great service and you over-deliver on your course and you over-deliver with your book, then they're more likely to buy other things from you and become a full price paying customer later on. Okay? Does premium pricing, does it work for you? Does it bring up any stuff for you? A lot of people go, oh, I can see somebody going, oh, no, really, I don't want to charge $1,000. I don't want to charge $2,000. And it can. And when we work on the mind stuff later, it can bring up stuff for people. And if you're blocked about charging a higher price, you're less likely to be able to sell that program as well. Okay, you've got to see value in what you're giving. You've got to see value in your course and value in. And that's probably why you, Leela, never created your online course, because you didn't see value in online courses.
No.
Yep.
Who would want to do one?
Exactly. And everyone in this room has done at least one, if not more.
Well, I got out of it, I am an avid researcher.
Yep.
And I realise everyone hasn't got that. So that was just a takeaway.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's why they're going to pay you.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're going to coordinate that research. You're going to structure it. So you've got to think about how many hours and dollars have you put into your own learning to get where you are as well. Yeah? A lot. And who's still doing ongoing professional development? Everyone in this room is still spending money on their own personal and professional development to make more or to give more value to others. That's what you're doing, aren't you? The more you learn, the more you have to give. If someone was to hire a coach to learn or achieve this transformation, what would that cost and what would that mean to them? You think about it in your clinics. I don't know, for those of you working with addiction, if you help somebody overcome addiction, how valuable is that to them? And not only them, to their families. If you save a marriage in counselling, if you help somebody, if you're a massage therapist and you help somebody overcome, traumatic back pain or ongoing back pain and issues, and their life is freed up, how valuable is that to them? And can you actually put a price on that? And if you ask them what that was worth, that outcome, they'd probably tell you priceless. Without your help, how much time or money would they have to have invested in researching and doing it themselves? How many hours would they need to be Googling? And they'd be getting all of this stuff that hadn't been filtered by a professional researcher. Yep. How many red herrings would they have to go through? Wasted time, wasted money. When you can filter out all the wasted information and actually bring it together to exactly what they need. And what's the value to the learner of the result? Yeah, we talked about that. So how much would it cost them if you didn't provide that course for them? If they continued in their pain, if their marriage failed, if their marriage failed, it could mean, divorce settlement and they've just lost themselves $1 million in a divorce settlement. That's pretty expensive, isn't it? Is your course at $597 worth it to them now? Hell yeah. So these, we talked about payment gateways before. These are just some of them. So I'll just skip through that. You've got Shopify, eWay, Square, PayPal, Stripe, even your own merchant facility. If you've got a current merchant facility for your clinic, you'll need to ring and speak to your banker to make sure that you can use it online. It will cost you more. Often it's cheaper to just go with one of the already existing online payment gateways. Okay. We'll probably skip because we talked about that before. We've talked about that because you're going to follow your book, most of you. If you're not following your book content, then speak to me in one of the breaks tomorrow and we can work through that. This probably we will spend a little bit of time on. One chapter converts into really one module. If you are following your book structure, then, of course, if you've got an 8-chapter book, you might do an 8-module course, okay? Very similar. You add your welcome module, which is all video to camera, so face-to-camera stuff. And I normally, at the beginning of every module, also have a face-to-camera, so they're connecting with me. It's human to human. So they know it's not just e-learning, that they're actually connecting with a real person. So every module will have at least one face-to-camera video from myself or an expert if I've interviewed somebody on that topic. Okay? 3 to 6 videos as voiceover PowerPoints per module. So, educational videos with your content structured into whether PowerPoints or Keynotes or whatever you use. And I wouldn't do any more than 6 to 8. I'd probably keep it at the lower end of that, probably around 5 or 6. And lengthwise, most people ask me the length question. It really depends on the content of that video. Some of my videos in my courses are literally 1 minute, 1.5 minute long, and some of them are up to maybe 10 or 12 minutes. I don't normally try and go over about 12 to 14 minutes because of people's attention span. And sometimes with online learning, they're doing it in between stuff, or they're doing it as they might be nurses who work midnight shift, and they're doing it between seeing patients and all that kind of stuff. So you've got to think about who is your customer and what's their kind of lifestyle and time. So I try and keep videos to maybe 5 or 6 minutes. Maximum I would do would be that 12 to 14 kind of level. Is that the same for you, Annie? Would you keep your videos short?
I wasn't listening, sorry.
Okay, course content, the modules on, do you keep them short, a few minutes long?
The first program I did, they were about an hour each.
Yep.
And drove my students to drink.
Yep.
So
That one might be for you.
so now I try and keep them between 7 to 10 minutes,
Yep.
every now and then like 25 minutes. But
Very similar. And if it's a really juicy, meaty topic and you really can't split it into 2, then you might do a longer one, but you might pre-warn them at the beginning of the video. This video is going to be about 20 to 25 minutes. If you don't have time to do it now, come back to it later when you have the time allocated into your diary. So you give them, so they're not sitting there going, when's this going to be over? And then they've left in middle of module 3 going, oh, that wasn't fun because I didn't finish it. And then everything drops, their endorphins disappear. And do they want to come back to the course because they were left feeling a bit icky? Yeah. Whereas if you pre-warn them, this is 25 minutes, if you don't have the time to do it now, then they're going to either do it because they expect it to be that, or if they have to only do half an hour and leave it till later, the expectation was met. So they're left with high endorphins, aren't they? They get the feel good. Summary, always face to camera. I always conclude every module. This is what's happened. This is what you've done. This is what you've learned. If you need to contact us, if the course is offering support services, if you need to contact us, remember to join the Facebook group. If there's a Facebook group, I give them that connection, always offering the connection. That's what I use the face to camera for, remembering that people want to connect with people. Even though they're doing e-learning, they still want to connect with people. And so I give them that opportunity every module twice to connect with me. Yep. Add your PDFs as downloads, your audios, all the things that you're going to offer to them as a download. If you're not offering it to them as a download, you're just uploading it to your course platform, and it just sits as a learning online lounge, and they can't download it. It's very obvious that they can't. It should be, your course platform should be very obvious that you can download it if it's possible. So it'll say, download here the audio for XYZ, or here's the download for the PDF. And you don't have to provide downloads. It's just I choose to. Sometimes some modules don't have any and some do. What I also normally do is I will have a bonus module where all of the PDFs and all of the downloads are sitting in it. So I'm not creating any more work for myself. I'm just collating them all in one space. So if somebody's searching for it and thinking, what module was that in? I can't remember. They can just go to the bonus module. And that usually opens up or gets triggered after they finish module 2 or 3 or something like that. Yeah. Add questionnaires at the end of each module to ensure key points have been learned. That's an option. Most really good course platforms will provide that option for you now, where you can actually, do 3 or 4 questions just to check in, and they can't move forward to the next module unless they get them right. Okay. And a learner can be rewarded points at the completion. This is actually quite a good model as well that's been introduced into some of the really up-to-date course platforms, where you, as they complete a module, they're given points, and so it kind of entices them to go, oh my God, I've got 60 points and the maximum points I can get in this course is 120. I'm halfway there. This is so exciting. I want to finish it. And it becomes their own personal race to get to the end as well. So that can be quite an enticement to get them finished.
So in the same sort of thinking, so if you get reward them for completing a just in the same sort of thinking that if you reward them for completing a course by giving a discount to your subsequent courses?
Absolutely. On completion, I often will offer a discount voucher for other courses if the courses are aligned or if they've already expressed interest and things. Yeah, absolutely. And I usually start hinting, like Colin and Wendy do in about module 3. They start talking about the subscription model, and if you're the kind of person who needs more ongoing support, who want to connect with us live every week, then they will start talking about that then as well, and they offer a discount for the first 3 months.
I was just going to say, a practitioner friend of mine ran a bingo through their course. So everyone got given a bingo card with words that were specific to whatever the topic was.
Yep.
And there was actually a prize at the end of it
Aww.
for when someone, and like they got a bonus something or other, like a 30-minute one-on-one
Beautiful.
Time at the end of it. And that was a huge success.
I like
and they
that
got
idea.
to post where they were at with their bingos. So
Very
at the end of the week,
very
they would
original.
post their bingo result, and I thought it was a really good idea.
For the questionnaire that you said, if they answer the questions, they don't get them right, they can't move on, is there special software for that? Or?
It usually is incorporated into the course platform. So the course platform will structure that. You just either turn that aspect of the course platform on or off. Okay. Yep. It's usually when you first buy it and register for the hosting of it, it's usually switched off and you have to activate it if you want to use it. Some come with it and some don't. That's why I was talking before about understand the kind of course and content you want to create first before you make a final decision on your platform. Okay, I know somebody had a question there. I might just move on and come back to that question. Somebody put their hand up just here? Or no, they might have been stretching or yawning. We've done the case study of emotional eating. This one is more drip-fed. This is a lower cost course. I do offer a special on it quite quickly. It's a 597 course or 599. I can't remember which one it is. And some of you are going to say, why would you use 9 versus 7? There's a lot of statistics and research out there. I think it's a personal preference. The statistics do show a little bit of a nudge towards ending a price in a 7, but it depends on how you feel about that and how do you feel about that, Annie? 9 or 7 on a price? A 9 or 7. Would you end in 599 or 597? I love 7. Yep, see, Annie's a 7. I like a 9. Occasionally I might do a 7. If I do a discount, I always do a 7. So at the moment, my unzip weight is discounted from 599 to 147. Yeah, and I do that once or twice a year as well. Question?
Beaumont Tiles give a 27% discount now, not 25.
This is really important, yeah, because if you look at big companies and they're investing millions of dollars into knowing their audience. So follow what big companies in your industry are doing. Beaumont Tiles, as Michael just said, if they're offering a discount, they used to do 24%, now they're doing 27%. So something in their research has shown them that 27 or 7 is an important number for customers, okay? So look at what big guys are doing in your industry and what pricings are they offering and where do you want to fit within that as well. Money and You we did as a beta trial group. I mentioned that, and that now when I do offer it as special is 147 as well. Okay. Creating content, obviously. Do you all need to be a videographer? You can. You can employ somebody beautiful like Carlos. Yeah, absolute dream. And you get the yummy accent too. Oh my God. And you get his gorgeous wife who's just incredibly talented photographer as well. And it's a wonderful team. But when you start out, do you have the kind of income from your courses to kind of compensate? No. Yeah. So you might need to learn skills yourself, mightn't you? You might need to learn how to do a little bit yourself. And there are a lot of things that you can do yourself as you begin to learn with very basic things that you already own. If you are ever looking for a videographer, I highly recommend our beautiful Carlos and his wife. But if you're not at that stage, of course, then the things you need might be some things like this. So we will go through a couple of recording devices. The mics and camera lighting, we're going to go through that in a minute. Framing up, I might get Carlos to talk about lighting and tone and speed, the do's and don'ts. I might get him to talk about that briefly before I just go through some of the things you might need. So there's lots of little gadgets. I'm a bit of a gadget girl. And no, I'm not selling these. Somebody told me last time I should actually set up an affiliate with all of the stores with this, because I should keep, what's that? What's that? What's that? Can I have that? Can I have this? The necessities for me, if I was absolutely starting out, I want a little tripod, yeah? Because I want stability. Yes, we can do lives with our video, and yes, we can do handheld recordings, but if we don't have a little stable tripod on our table to record on our desk, to actually record face to camera if we're recording from our phones, then we don't want online course content doing this, do we? Because our students are beginning going, oh my God, I'm having a little, yeah? So we need some sort of stability. So that's kind of a must do, and it must have if you're doing short, quick things. If you don't actually have online software yet, you don't have all the big software for your computer and stuff yet, if you want to do it on the cheap and you just want to record stuff on your phone, our phones these days are incredibly great quality, then you obviously need the adapter for this, so that because that just comes as you buy that as a tripod itself, and then you screw on the actual phone adapter. You can also get iPad ones as well, where you can do it the iPad size. So that's an absolute must. A lapel mic, if you are recording from your computer, is an absolute must. Good ones, if you're going to go high end, then things like a Rode or Rode, some people say Rode, some people say Rode, a Rode SmartLav. Is around the $100 mark, $99, $97, that kind of... did you just get one? Depending on where you buy it. You can buy it for JB Hi-Fi for about $97. You can get it a few dollars cheaper than that elsewhere. But yeah, it's probably for a small online course developer who's just... That's very true, which is really, really important. If you intend to get guest speakers, or like, for instance, tonight one of our book launches is John and Leonie O'Connell, where they're both co-authors, and Megan DeMol and... Megan Harris and Karen DeMol. They're joint authors on a book, and so if they're producing a course, then we need that double, and so for a couple of dollars more, you can actually record two voices at the same time, which is tremendous. If you want to go up market a little bit, there's this kind of microphone, which comes with lots of gadgetry, and I just love gadgetry. So it comes with, the voice softener, the dampener. It's great for sitting in front of, it's actually a really good quality mic for sitting in front of you at the desk. You can record, and it's I think better even quality than the Rode lapel mic. It's excellent. Great for interviewing. So if you're going out and interviewing experts, it's excellent for interviewing. So you just, ask question, ask question, So that's actually quite good. That's actually a Zoom. It's a Zoom H1N. That's actually the accessory pack. I haven't got the original pack, but that's how it looks set up. So you can even put it on a stand. You can do lots with it. So it actually looks quite professional. And it's a brilliant mic for low cost. I can't remember how much it was. $160, $170, something like that. It's actually quite good quality. You've got things like your little round bally things. They're quite good. That's actually quite a reasonable desk microphone. That's actually quite reasonable as well. These are my latest little gadgets that I love. I love bendy things because I like to do lives in lots of different places. So, you can make this sit on uneven surfaces and still get stability. But this little thing is super exciting. It's called a Squiddy, and it can bend in any direction, and I like doing lives outside. So if I'm standing beside a lamppost, I can get it to hold onto the lamppost, and my phone is attached to it, and I can do a live there and have complete stability. There's so that's called a Squiddy. They're available as well. And the other absolute must that I have, there's two, is a ring light for the phone, especially because I travel a lot. So this just goes, you squeeze the outside and it opens up and it goes over the top of your phone. So the camera is coming out here. You switch the light on. Hopefully it's charged. It's not charged at the moment. And it just charges by connecting it to...
I've got one that's charged.
That's all right. I mean, it's really like this. It's a small version of this ring light here. Yeah? And look how powerful that is. You know, that's lighting this space enough for the videographer to use with very poor lighting here. And that's just a ring light. These are about... good ones, say from $20 to $50, $60. This one I paid, it's a good quality one. I think it was about $147. They're really not that expensive, but ring lights are vital. So you can get all different sizes. You can get desk ones like this, which are super great. They come on a little stand and they can sit on your desk, so you can do it in front of your computer if you're doing a live somewhere else. If you cannot, especially if you're doing it at night, or if you can't sit in front of an open window. So you know, it's important to have your face to light in some way. So if you've got natural light, fabulous. Open up the curtains and do it towards you're looking at the light at the window, so that you avoid shadows and things. But if not, these kind of things will actually help to create that light. And they all come, most of them will come with both the warm light and the white light. So that one you can actually put orange filters on and change the softness of the light.
Can I request the kind gentleman to turn it off for a few seconds? So
Yes.
we can see the effect?
Can you turn that off?
Do you find these online or through JB Hi-Fi?
Online. Huge difference, isn't it? And they're a cold light as well. They're an LED, so they're not going to warm up the room. They're not going to add heat to your room, which is fabulous. That's probably a Carlos question. When would you use cold light and when would you use the warmer light?
It all depends on the rest of the lights you have in the room. It's not that it's color, it's the color of the light.
Yep.
That's blue light, really white light, and the light we have in that lamp is yellow light. So if you are filming something close to that light, you should put the orange strips so the light is warmer. So it's not about the amount of light, it's about the color of the light.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
So if the light isn't, so if it's white light,
Yeah.
that's good.
I will use this here for the video, or if we are outside, that would be a really bright light and match the color of the outside. If we are filming inside, that's a tungsten light, it's yellow. You should put
You would put
yellow gel. In that we have it here, and you will match the color of
Got you.
that light.
Got you. So if it's an indoor lighting like this, you would use the filtered light. So you would use the warmer strip in order to try and match it but brighten it. Does that make sense? Cool.
What's the brand name of this?
Yeah, Luvo. That's where I bought it. Luvo store. It's not the brand though. I can't remember, but I will email me and I will tell you. I've got the box at home. I'll tell you exactly what it was. Luvo is the Australian who won't let me have an affiliate. How rude. How rude are they? The other thing that might be useful if you have really good diction and you have a sound and a sound that's really, really strong, just having a little softener over your microphone to help soften those pops, because there's nothing worse, especially a lot of learners are learning with earphones in. Yeah, they're learning on the computer while the family's doing other things, or they're learning on the commute on the train. And if you've got a really strong P sound or B sound, I have to use a filter a lot when I'm doing online recordings, because I actually have studied diction in my past and I can't actually stop that now. It's kind of become automatic. And so in that process, my P's and my S's and my F's can sometimes be a little sharp when they're listened through a microphone. And so just have a listen, record yours, listen to them quite high back to see whether they're soft or smooth or whether they actually jar you in any way, and kind of think about that for your listeners and your e-learners as well. Because sometimes it can be something as small as that that turns them off from doing your course. It could be your tone of your voice. It could be that you've got too sharp a tone, or that you're not using enough kind of ebb and flow in your rhythm, and that it might feel a little boring, or whatever it is. And that can actually turn them off from the course. So ring lights, so amazingly. If you were just starting out and you didn't have a lot of money, I would suggest these are your two, a ring light and a little one for your phone, and one of these as your two must-haves, okay? Because even nowadays, you've got your microphones. All phones come with little ear microphones anyway. They're relatively good enough, unless you want to, go to the lapel mic or the little Zoom mic, etc., right from the beginning. But if your budget is low and you want to start out, start with these. Deal? There's many other things. This is kind of the next stage up for, rather than using the ball one here. I love this one, and this is the one I use a lot. It's a Rode desk mic, and I use that for most of my podcasts. I use it for all of my online course recordings, all of that as well. For those of you that can't see it, the box has disappeared. Oh, yes, there it is. So you can come and have a look at it later on and write down the brand if you like. How are we going for time? 4:30. Oh, my God, we're 4:30. We didn't get any mindset stuff. Can you wait 15 minutes? Can you do 15 minutes? Let's do it. Well, I can. As long as we get the room broken down and ready for tonight, we can go to 4:45. All righty. Let's look at some of the challenges that people were coming up against. Confidence, money mindset, positioning yourself as the expert. They're kind of three key things. Is that still resonating with people from yesterday? That's what you came out with, that were some of your challenges you wanted to achieve overcome this weekend. Fear of failure, fear of success we talked about. Obviously all the fear around the technology and the products you're going to produce, but we're kind of helping you sort through that at the moment. Getting the right client, fear that it won't hurt, whether you're engaging. I think that's probably it. What else? What else over the course of this 2 days so far have you come up with that is your voice, that is not really your voice, yeah, it's a voice in your head getting in the way?
I don't like social media, so that's one of mine.
Yep, so I don't like it. Yep, great. I actually hate it. That might be something you need to overcome. Mind you, you do have an IT expert sitting beside you. That might be something you both need to overcome. Yep. What else? Technology in general, yep.
Still about the webinars and the courses, yes, you talk a lot about it, but the process of actually setting it up and...
Yep, so the how. So you're stuck in the how rather than asking the who. Remember we talked about who versus how yesterday. Yep. Maintaining momentum, maintaining motivation. Who finds that? It comes in spurts, fits and spurts, and then all of a sudden it drops, and then you get motivated, and then you wrap yourselves over the knuckles and you get on again. Yeah, who does that? All right, so I want you to think for you at the moment, if you've written anything down over the last 24 hours or so about the blocks that are specific to you, grab those notes now. Or if there's something else that's come up for you that is actually you feel is more important. I know somebody grabbed me aside before and said there was an awareness that came to them last night that just they realised all the little blocks they had were about this one big block. Yeah? So just think about if there was one thing that you could solve today to help you move forward to write a book and produce an online course, what would that be? You don't need to tell me. Just contemplate it and think about what it is and what it would mean to you if you could move on from it. And it might be about value, self-value, self-worth. It might be about expertise. Who am I to? It might be about, could I really charge that? Just think about one thing for yourself right now that your inner critic voice has stopped you in the past? Has everyone got something? I want you to close your eyes and think about where in your body or head, and I want you to physically point to it when you find it. Where in your body or head does that voice seem to come from? And it feels weird that a voice comes from somewhere, but it will. For some people, it is in the head and it's somewhere in the head. For other people, the voice can even seem to come from the chest or the belly or the back, or sometimes it even comes from a leg or something like that. Just where does that voice seem to come from? And just put your hand, choose one hand, doesn't matter whether it's the dominant hand or not, choose one hand and place it where that is. And then I want you to blink 3 times, blink, blink, blink. Roll your eyes one way, roll back the other way. And then I want you to ask your inner coach, what would you say instead to that voice? And when that inner coach voice comes forward, I want you to put your other hand where that new voice comes from. And if nothing comes from the inner coach, say, what if I had an inner coach? What would my inner coach say to me? And that will bypass the resistance. That's it. So then I just want you to very slowly, only as fast or as slow as your subconscious mind allows you to collapse the original first message, the original first voice. I want your subconscious mind to just slowly swap the hands, only as fast or as slow as your subconscious mind lets you collapse the first voice. And then take in a deep breath. And I want you to just keep your eyes closed if it feels comfortable for you. And I want you to ask that critical voice, if it's still there, notice whether it's the same intensity or less. What's changed about it? Just be curious about that. If it's still there, I want you to just ask it, if you could speak to me now, what would you say? Just silently in your own mind. Process that. If nothing comes, just acknowledge it's blank and there's something in your subconscious still protecting you, and that's okay. Ask it, if it had an emotion, what would the emotion be now? Again, if nothing comes, that's okay. Go to the physical body. If it had a sensation somewhere in your body, what would that sensation be? For some people, it might be prickly or heavy or lumpy or stuck or whatever the description is for you, cold or hot. And now that you've cycled through the recipe of how you do that critical voice, I want you to go back to it again and ask, if you could speak to me now, what would you say now? Is it the same or is it different? What emotion is there now? Is it the same or different? And what's the sensation? What's changed about it? And then I want you to just rub or tap on what's called the karate chop. For those of you who've done EFT, you'll know what that is, but it's just underneath the last knuckle on the base of the hand where you would do a karate chop. For some people, they like to rub there, others like to tap. So I just want you to do what feels comfortable for you and just say, even though I did think, and just state what it is for you that you were thinking to yourself. I'm learning to love and accept myself anyway. Even though I've let myself down sometimes in the past, I'm learning to forgive myself and move on. It happened. It's over. And I did survive. Even though I've made more mistakes than I can remember. It's time to let that go. even though I've let myself down. I've sabotaged myself. I may have even procrastinated in the past. It's time to move on. It's time to move forward. Even though I doubted myself, or I played small, it's time to let that go too. I give myself permission to be me. I give myself permission to give it a go. I give myself permission to be an author. I give myself permission to be an online course developer. I give myself permission to learn how to be a digital marketer too. I give myself permission to do what it takes to get to where I want to go. And even though my subconscious mind sometimes tries to trick me, I learn that it's just wiring firing. I'm learning that I can let that go too. Enough is enough. The past is the past. It happened. It's over. And I survived. And even though others may have put me down, even though others may have let me down, it's time to let that go. It doesn't make what happened right or wrong. It's just time to move on. It's time to release them to their own karma so I can get on with my life. It's time to get on with my life. It's time to get on with playing the full me. I can do this. I am who I am, and that's okay. It's time to be me. Take a deep breath. Give yourself permission just to consult with your body and see how you're feeling. Blink 3 times. Roll your eyes one way very slowly and back the other way. And just breathing deeply and normally now. And just assess how you feel. If you try and think about that first voice, just notice what's happened, notice where it is, notice if it's different, if it's the same, what's actually happened for you. Does anyone want to share their experience of that? Yep.
It started in my chest and then with work went to my head, and I've written down, I've gone from feeling to thinking, and I labelled it stinking thinking, and that can be changed.
Yeah, it's just wiring, isn't it? Yes. Imagine if every time you had that stinking thinking, you went, no, that can be changed. That's not me. How cool would that be? How often has stinking thinking actually held you back? Because you believed it. Or you used it, yeah? Often we can use it as an excuse not to try because we want to believe that. We don't want to put ourselves at risk. Anyone else have a shift or not have a shift that you want to share? We'll go to Brett first, and then we'll go here, and then we've got, I can't remember your name, darling, sorry. Lisa, that's right, I spoke to you earlier.
A very simple message that I didn't expect. I'm not my father.
Oh, my God. I want to be all dramatic over that. That's so beautiful. Oh, my God. How does that feel? It's new, isn't it? It's new. And that's what I want you to realise. When you have a shift at that kind of level, it's actually about giving yourself permission to let your cells absorb it and work out whether to reject it or accept it. And if you reject it and you reject the change, that's okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just be okay with that and accept that maybe sometimes I need to check in to see if I'm ready to accept that now. Does that make sense? You change at the level that you're ready to change. But if your subconscious mind has given you it, it thinks you have the skills to deal with it. You're never given something you can't handle or that you don't have the support around you to handle. Cool. Great awareness. Thank you for sharing that.
I also started from the heart and then it went to the head. And I was like in jail. There were bars there and there was a lot of fear. And at the end, the fear was still there, but it wasn't as strong. And the coach said, with practice, it will get easier.
Yes. Do you get that? It's about I'm learning the skills to move through it. It's not real. It's not who I am. It's just who I learned how to be. And I'm learning the skills to overcome it.
The message was, who am I to be the shining light,
Yep.
But the coach gives permission to be the shining light. Yeah.
Shine on, you lovely diamond. Beautiful. And Lisa here.
That was really interesting. I didn't think I'd get the reply that I got. But anyway, it started off with in my chest, and I felt the point in my back, which comes and goes a lot. So I try myself to massage it out, but I've never really had the connection with it in that way. But it was my inner critic. It was the fear of failure. And when my own coach came in, it just said, move over, sit down and shut up. It was like, just get out of the way.
Yep.
And then I experienced it's time now.
Yep.
And the freedom of taking that step. I didn't realize that I felt that way, but I felt the shift in my body, which is also an acknowledgement of the blockage.
Yep.
Because it was from my back, and when I switched hands, it went up into my throat, just in one space, and then it dissolved.
Yep.
Of allowing that space, that inner critic, not to be steering subconsciously, and to take charge and to just do that.
Yes.
Yep.
That's beautiful. And maybe go back and talk to that inner critic and tell it thank you at some point, that, it thought it was doing the best, and release it.
I think a lot of it is the critics from others.
Yes. And often that's something I do with my clients. I'll actually ask them, whose voice is it anyway? Is it your voice, actually your voice, that's speaking to you in there? Or is it a record of somebody else's voice? That's a really important question to ask every now and then of that inner critic. Whose voice are you anyway? Yeah? And often you'll get my mum's or my dad's or my uncle's or my brother's or my teacher's or my whatever. Yeah? We're going to do one last thing before we close for the night, and we're going to check your money ceiling and your money floor. Who's ever done any work on their money ceiling before? Some of my students will have, yep. Who's done work on their money floor? Who's even thought about a money floor?
I'm in a piggy bank.
Yep. So your money ceiling is your subconscious limit to what your subconscious believes you're worth. Yeah? And your money floor is kind of in alignment with that. So who's ever had the roller coaster ride? And this was definitely me. I talked about this yesterday, where you get up to one stage and you success and work and all of a sudden you crash back down. Yep. So I'd get up to, earning $10,000, $20,000 a month or whatever, and it'd be fabulous going along swimmingly. And then I'd crash back down and be like $2,000 and $3,000 a month again. And oh my God, here I am again. Yeah. And I found that was my money floor and ceiling. My money ceiling was that $19,000 to $20,000 a month limit that got really scary. And my floor was the absolute limit that my subconscious would let me to go to failure was $3,000. Every time I got to that level per month, my sabotage patterns would go, oh, you can't do this anymore. You've got to work again. And I'd get focused and work again. And I'd build it up, build it up, build it up, build it up. And then the sabotage pattern would kick in again because I hadn't moved the money ceiling. But if you move the money ceiling, you've also got to move the money floor and close the gap. Does that make sense? So if you move the money ceiling to $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month or $30,000 a month or whatever it is for you, then you've also got to bring your money floor up to, $5,000 underneath that or something, so that your subconscious programming isn't going to let you do the huge roller coasters. Yeah, who wants that in their life anymore? Those extreme highs are beautiful, but oh my God, it takes so much work to climb back up again, doesn't it? So if you raise your money ceiling, it's important to raise your money floor as well. All right, so I'm going to do a little exercise with you, and we'll shorten it very quickly, and I just want you to subconsciously, because you're already kind of in that subconscious state anyway, close your eyes, and I'm going to say a figure. Do you prefer per annum or per month? What's realistic? Per month? Most people are kind of saying per month. All right, so okay, let me do the calculations in my head. If I get it wrong, don't subconsciously blame me, okay? So what we're going to do is have a per month figure, and I'll try and translate that. If somebody could bring me a calculator, hello, so I can get the figures as accurate as possible. What was that? Yeah. Mm. Yeah, and show me. All right, so close your eyes, take in a deep breath. And I want your subconscious mind to be okay with helping you, and that you don't blame it for anywhere it's kept you stuck in the past. You're just accepting now that it's time to change. It's time to transform and just lift the game a little. It's time to stop playing small. So what we need to do is to test our money ceiling. So we're going to ask our subconscious mind to be honest with us, to find out where our limit is that becomes icky. Where does it feel, oh, I'm not quite sure I can do that, or where does it get sticky? Okay, so I want you to think about earning $1,000 a month, and just acknowledge earning $1,000 in your bank account, or $1,000 being handed to you from a client, and just notice how that feels in your body. Does it feel warm and soft and lovely and welcoming, or is there any part of your body rejecting it, feeling uncomfortable? Just be curious about that. Think about $2,000 per month. Put your attention on what it feels like to earn $2,000 per month. That's $24,000 a year. Notice if that feels okay for you. Or is the subconscious eager for you to rise? Think about $3,000 per month. Let your subconscious mind really tell you what's going on for you. Where is it scared? Where does it decide for you the limit is? $3,000 per month, or $36,000 a year. How does that feel for you? Is it comfortable? Do you feel at peace with that, or eager for more, or fearful? Or is there a doubter? Think about $4,000 per month, or $48,000 per year. How does that feel for your body, your inner voice? How easy does it feel? How believable is it that you can earn $4,000 per month? How much evidence do you already have or not have that you can earn $4,000 per month, or $48,000 per year? Just be curious. Notice what you notice. There's no right or wrong. Think about $5,000 per month. $60,000 a year. Does that feel uncomfortable for you, or does that feel peaceful? Does your subconscious mind go, that's okay, we can have more? Or does your subconscious mind feel uneasy? Just notice what you notice. Be curious. We're going to jump a little higher now. I want you to think about $10,000 per month, $120,000 per year. And notice what you notice in the cells of your body. Just be curious. There's no right or wrong. Does your subconscious mind, does that little itty-bitty voice in the back of your mind accept $120,000 per year? Does it believe that you can do $10,000 per month? Does it feel comfortable or ill at ease? Just be curious. Let's go a little higher to $20,000 per month. That's $240,000 per year. How does your body feel? What's your inner voice saying to you? What does your inner critic say versus your inner coach? Are they at peace or is there conflict? Just be curious about that now. And right now I want you to pause and blink 3 times. Roll your eyes one way and back. And blink again. Close your eyes, take in another deep breath. I want you to think about $30,000 per month. That's $360,000 per year. What does your inner coach say versus your inner critic? Is there any conflict there? Just be curious, there's no right or wrong. We're just discovering. Let's jump a little higher now and go to $50,000 per month. That's $600,000 per year. In whatever way is appropriate for you, how money comes to you, imagine that $60,000 comes into your bank account this month. And next month. And next month again. And you can rely on it for the month after. What does your inner critic say? What does your inner coach say? Be curious about any conflict that arises. I want you to think about $100,000 per month. That's $1.2 million a year. Notice how it feels that $100,000 a month comes into your bank account in whatever way it comes in. And you can rely on the fact that it's coming in next month too. And the month after, and the month after, and even this time next year. What does your inner critic say versus your inner coach? Is there any conflict there? How does your body respond? Has your body felt calm? Or is there any tightening or unusual experience or sensation? Just be curious. I want you to think about $500,000 per month. $500,000 per month. $6 million a year. And $500,000 comes in this month. And you can rely on the fact it will come in next month as well. What does your inner critic say versus your inner coach? Is there conflict there? How does your body respond to that? Just be curious. Attempt to go as high as you choose to go. And just be curious how your body responds, how your inner critic responds. Just be curious there. And only as fast or as slow as your subconscious mind is willing to reveal to you your most upper limit for your money ceiling. As an awareness of a sensation in the body or an inner critic voice, will you come back to this space, taking a deep breath, and just open your eyes. Being okay with what is. We can't change what we don't face. True? So what happened? Anyone want to share what was going on for them? Was there an actual awareness of the subconscious letting you know when, oh, this feels a bit, oh, are you sure? Can you really? Or was there just eagerness to have more? You know, is your subconscious mind, has it taken the lid off the ceiling? Like, just where are you in that? We cannot continue to grow if our subconscious has got a lid on something, yeah? And so we need to let the subconscious know that it's safe to grow. So does anyone wish to share? Amanda will do so there. And we've got Leela and, I don't know your name again. Tony, that's right. And Lesbita, that's it.
I just think I need to move on from the logic that says, because of the business plan model, I know what I need, to what I'm allowed. Like I sat there, you started off on 1,000, I'm like going, I already know I need 25, get to it. Like that's where I was with it. I know that's a target or a goal or something for me that I've set. That would, for me, cover all things at the moment for me that would make me just happy. Anything than that is a bonus.
Yep.
And I need to learn that I shouldn't set those kind of limits on myself. Like, it's not...
Because that's kind of settling, isn't it?
It shouldn't be about, I know that I need that.
Yeah.
Like, it's the word need.
Because need in the subconscious mind presupposes lack.
Yes, that's probably the word.
So every time you say, I need 25,000, just get there, your subconscious is actually going, I lack 25,000. When am I going to get there?
Exactly.
And that's what you're rewiring.
Thank you.
Deal?
Yes, thank you, because I haven't been able to word it because I don't know. I was sitting there cogitating on it.
So the impatience is actually going to be your downfall in moving past, even getting to 25,000 or moving past it. Make sense? Yes. Cool. We had Tony at the back.
Thank you. Yeah, one thing that was kind of interesting for me was that initially as we were going up, there was increased kind of nervousness and pressure and all of that. But then actually when it got into the high amounts, like 100,000 a month or even $1 million plus a month, in some ways it became easier. And I think my coach was saying, well, you've created billions of dollars, so of course you should be earning millions.
Yep.
And it was interesting that it kind of had that U shape, the discomfort.
Yeah, absolutely.
I shifted then to a kind of new way of processing, well, what is appropriate. Yeah.
And so what you might need to do some work on is the lower figures, that nervousness, that anxiety, might be your floor. Trying to say, are you sure, are you sure, are you sure? Yeah? And so that subconscious money floor might need working on. You might need to be able to raise so that at any level you feel a complete sense of ease. Beautiful. Excellent. Yep. So there was an impatience there as well. We'll just grab the mic, won't be a sec.
And once I got to, it was way over 100, I was like, okay, I can breathe now.
Yep.
Yep. But when it was low, I was like, oh, God, no, just get out of here.
Yep, fantastic.
That was
and
really awful.
Was that nervousness and that get out of there and that impatience, was that actually a resistance factor that you're frustrated with those levels, or was it actually just an openness and a readiness? Remember, any time that there is...
it was more, I earn more than that, so that was
excellent.
it.
Excellent.
Yep.
So you've already got evidence that you earn more than that. So that's fabulous. So your subconscious mind is already comfortable at the higher levels. Perfect. Yep. So when did it start getting uncomfortable?
Oh, it didn't. I'm serious.
Beautiful. Excellent.
Yeah.
So your money floor and ceiling will have been raised. That's fabulous.
No, I kept thinking, oh, well, you could do this with it, and you could do that with it. No, I don't have any discomfort. Bring it on.
Remember, when we do we could do this, we could do that, we have to do we have done this, we have done that. Yeah? Because the could presupposes we haven't done it yet. The subconscious mind rewires we're not doing it. Whereas when we actually use I have done this, I have experienced this, I know what it feels like, the subconscious rewires already being there. Make sense? One more and we'll have to close for the evening. Or two more. We've got two hands up.
The inner critic was comfortable at a certain point, but the coach was when the inner critic became uncomfortable, the coach was saying, you can do this, you can do this.
Excellent, excellent.
But then when it became really uncomfortable, the inner critic created sort of like hell is opening up. There was a red sort of like pitless sort of thing opening up, the earth opened up. But the coach was comfortable until you said 6 million, and then I just gasped.
Yep.
And the coach said, no, this is a little bit too much.
Yep, absolutely. So just
not
witness
impossible,
that.
it's just that it's right now.
And there's no right or wrong with that. For you to decide you never want to earn 6 million, there's absolutely no right or wrong with that. It's what do you want, and make sure there's no conflict about it. So if you're happy with $100,000 a year, be happy and content and joyous with $100,000 a year. But if you're not, if you want more than that, you've got to remove the conflict, and the floor and the ceiling have to be raised. Deal? Last one.
I was quite surprised that my mind didn't protest, but my body, oh my God, I had the most amazing pain under here.
Great. I'm glad somebody's brought this up because I was going to talk about that just before we close. Beautiful.
And then I thought, oh, that's centre of self-mastery, and the previous exercises that I don't have to do it all, I can ask for help. So that started to ease as I focused on that. And then as I go up into the higher ones, it was all this really intense pain across here, and the whole father's family tree of communists was all in my head, and it was like that gentleman going, that is not his father. But I thought, I don't mentally agree with any of that, but it's still there in your body.
Absolutely. It's a cellular memory. Okay, and so when our body reacts, that's why I was asking you, what's your inner coach say, what's your inner critic say, is there any conflict? And then I was saying to you, what does your body say? What's your body experiencing? Your body speaks your subconscious mind. So even if your inner critic is not firing, your body will be going, alert, 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 something's wrong. There's a cellular memory here that I'm not happy with, and I don't resonate with what you're saying. I don't resonate with $100,000, or I don't resonate with $500,000. And that, we've got to listen to that. So we've got to do some work on where the body started to protest, because that's your subconscious floor and ceiling, okay? Well done. Fantastic, everybody. Who are you? You are authors. Stand up. I am the author of. I am an online course developer. And I am learning how to be a digital marketer. Woo! Does that feel easier? Hell yeah. Have a fantastic evening. Those of you we're seeing at the book launch gala, we'll see you then. Otherwise, framing up tone and speed, do's and don'ts. Yes. Yep. We'll start where we left off. Pleasure. Enjoy your evening.